Before you start, I'm just going to do a quick recap about what the hell's going on, what this means. Basically, this sprint is the sprint to the right deal at COP15. Here is no deal at all. And then as we go along here, the deal gets better and better and better. These little figures are representing the countries, of course.
That's right.
And some of them are doing extremely badly. And as we go down here, these are the ones that are doing well.
That's
and
right.
obviously the aim is to get to climate safety over there. And these friendly name tags refer to the deal, because if we got this deal, for example, it's called a suicide pact because it would commit us to runaway climate change. It would commit us to hitting 2 degrees, and then it would probably be over for most of life on Earth. Whereas this deal, which some of the countries are going for, the coin flip, is the one that would give us a 50-50 chance of not hitting 2 degrees and not going into runaway climate change. Still quite bad, you might say, 50-50 chance. If the world leaders were standing at the door of a plane telling you to get on and saying there was a 50-50 chance of landing safely, would you get on that plane? The bad news is we're all on that plane. And then finally, these few countries are going for a good chance, but as you can see, there's not many of them. So Nick, tell us the moves on the board today.
Well, basically there's been a lot of talking going on. There've been informal meetings, there've been formal meetings, and they've been happening at the same time all day long, but no obvious progress. We've had some really big, as Mark was saying, expectations from the US and China, but nothing still has come out. So over the last sort of 24 hours, we've still seen a lot of frustration coming from Japan. Now, Japan is really frustrated because even though they've said that they'll arrive with a little bit more climate funds, and they're going to bring 10 billion, a nice round US dollar amount, to the climate fund for short term, that's the first 3 years, they're going to bring it along, but they're really frustrated with the African group because the African group want to keep the legal form, that is the Kyoto Protocol. You might have heard of this before. And the Kyoto Protocol is something that the Africans think is really important for them. So Japan's saying, look, we're working really hard, and Africa, you're not being very constructive. But Africa is saying, look, Japan and Australia and America and the EU, who are all together on this because they don't really care much for the Kyoto Protocol, they're saying, Africa, you're not being very helpful. And that's just really non-diplomatic, especially at this stage of the summit that it's become. So that's definitely the first set of announcements. Now, other than that, Canada today got caught out because Canada have had a leak from their cabinet. Canada have basically been caught out for not even meaning to achieve their minuscule target of 3% on 1990. Now, 3% is not very much. Canada are all the way...
3% is way in the suicide pact level, isn't it?
Yeah, way in the suicide pact level.
So are they going back now?
Here. Now, they think they're somewhere in line with America, but America is actually at 4%, so they're a little bit ahead, and they don't have half the loopholes that Canada does. Canada, at 3%, creating more loopholes, and, as the leak confirms, not even intending to achieve its targets, definitely moves Canada back quite a long way, almost as far back as our front runner in the back, Saudi Arabia, who's basically asleep. Now, Saudi Arabia got a 0 score on the Climate Change Performance Index released by Climate Action Network EU and the German Watch Group, and that's why Canada and Saudi Arabia are at the far end of this race. They're really not helping at all. Now, the US has also been criticised, and that definitely puts the US back, because the US were the only wealthy country, that is the only Annex 1 country, to block money that comes from shipping and from aviation. So all of the fuel that goes through flying and aeroplanes and shipping cargo around the world can only be governed here at the UNFCCC at the Copenhagen conference, because it's a global problem. No one country can decide because no one country owns the fuel in between all of the countries. The US basically said, I'm sorry, but any rules on this are going to slow us down and we're not going to have it, and the rest of the world's going to have to wait for that money to come through. And that's basically where we're up to at the moment. It's been a real mess. A lot of the public servants and negotiators have been running around trying to tie up all the loose ends before the ministers have arrived. Now the ministers have arrived, and they're trying to get rid of the pebbles before the heads of state and the leaders arrive. And the leaders have started to arrive and have started to make their speeches in the high-level segment. Now they want to move some big rocks, and they want to make it look like a great success. But at this stage in the race, as you can see, we've got most of our players back in the very far suicide pact half of our race.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Nick.
You're welcome.